Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including RWBY, which we'll be getting into right now. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Delaney Stovall.
Hey, y'all.
Hayley Nabuurs.
Hello.
And Andy Potter.
Hello.
Today, Delaney, Hayley, Andy, and I are here to talk about the latest and one of the most ever notable episodes of RWBY, Alone Together, Chapter 8 of Volume 5 of RWBY. We talk RWBY every week here on the Overly Animated Podcast. You can find us at overlyanimated.com or search for Overly Animated RWBY on iTunes and subscribe there on YouTube to not miss any of our weekly RWBY discussions. Buckle up for this one. If you've seen the episode, you know, you should maybe know what's in store here. This is going to be a very interesting podcast. So, stay with us on this. And, I don't do this every week, but I'm going to once again give our warnings. We tend to be negative about RWBY. And not always, just justifiably. So if you don't like criticisms of this show, then maybe don't continue listening. And also, we come at this show from a socially progressive angle. So if the thought of that upsets you, then you're probably gonna be pissed off by our discussions today. So I'm just gonna say, don't say I didn't warn you. Please. Okay. So let's get into Alone Together. Make sure you've seen this. Aired today on Rooster Teeth First. Make sure you've seen this episode. Spoilers for Alone Together and all previous episodes of RWBY. By the way, I've been listening to Alone Together by Fall Out Boy in preparation for this podcast. It was not relevant to the episode, but that's what I thought of when I heard the title. And I think it's actually one of the better titles of the show. I think it applies a lot to the episode. But let's get into this episode. Delaney, what did you think of Alone Together?
Okay, so Delaney's been off for a bit because Delaney's been at school and life's hard. And then they were like, guys, the gay. And I was like, oh my god, I have to get caught up right now immediately. So I get caught up. And I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling it. This is really great. And I was like, oh, Yang. So I love this episode because of the Yang development. We get Yang being mad, Yang talking. That's awesome. We don't get a lot of that. We've ignored Yang for the majority of the series until now, which is really exciting that now we're actually like getting into her feelings, what she thinks. So I love that. Weiss was there and they were chatting, which is a pairing we don't normally see. It was awesome and really cute. And I was like, yay. And then I was like, oh my god, Yang's gonna confess her love for Blake. Finally, Bumblebee's real. No, that's not what happened. I'm really mad because, and this, I have been like feeling this. Like I was like, Ilya and Blake, like there's a history there. Like, what happens? Ilya comes out to Blake while kidnapping her. Are you flippin' serious? Really? Flippin', okay? Flippin' serious. Oh, so quite possibly one of the worst coming out moments ever. Like, this may be worse than just coming out to your family at Thanksgiving and they just yell at you. Like, this is pretty bad. Like, you're kidding. Like, really? Are you serious? I don't even know who this girl is. Like, are you kidding me? Other than that, the episode was actually pretty good, except for this last bit that just made me unbelievably angry. And I had to go yell at everybody about it.
Yes. Yeah, it was kind of a mislead because I was like, Delaney, okay, you really need to catch up now because the gay happened. I tried to be like, it was problematic. So I think I thought.
No, you did. I was like, okay. Well, my first thought was like, oh my god, it's gonna be Bumblebee, but it's gonna be like, oh, Blake like rejected her and I'm gonna be sad about it. And then as soon as like they cut away from that, I was like, Ilya, are you serious? And I was like, it's gonna be Ilya.
Yeah.
Are you freaking kidding me? And that's exactly what happened.
But yeah. Okay, so last season we had talked about this possibility quite a bit actually, Delaney. We talked about,
yes.
Does Ilya like Blake? I said yes. I was shipping this for a long time and you said no because Ilya's 12, which is fair.
Yeah, because Ilya is 12.
Right. It's not clear how old she is still, but, yeah, so this is.
I still stand by my statement that Ilya's 12.
I do think she is meant to be younger than Blake.
Which, like, again, she can have a crush on Blake. I mean, that's fine, but oh my god.
Right, yeah. Well, we will get into all the potentially problematic aspects of the scene. Don't you worry. Okay. Yeah, we'll watch out for that. Okay. Hayley, what are your thoughts on Alone Together?
It was a trip, this episode. There was, like, a lot happened in a relatively, like, kind of
quiet episode in terms of what we were expecting, because we thought this was going to be the big assassination, all fight scene episode. So I was not expecting, like, I was bracing myself for that going in, and it was not that, which is fine, because we got some awesome time with the RWY crew, and I really like that we are doing all this Weiss development, and it's actually paying off now, and now we're moving over to Yang, and maybe we'll get some development with her. And the Bumblebee was insane in this episode. Like, in my mind, they basically confirmed Bumblebee, like, through, like, subtext.
They kept cutting to them.
They kept cutting in and out and everything. It was great. Yeah,
it was like
awesome.
The longing, looking out a window.
Yeah, right?
Like,
cut to Blake looking out over a balcony dramatically. Like, it was great. And it was, in my opinion, this seems like the gayest episode of RWBY ever. And I'm all for it.
Kind of inherently.
It was insane. But then it was just so disappointing that it was like, why do you have to tell her you love her as you're, like, sending her off to this, like, crazy guy? And it's just horrible. And,
I'm gonna kill your family and send you to that guy who tried to kill you, but I
also had a major crush on you. Like, what? Yeah. So I was like, it was so confusing, because half of me was like, yeah, awesome. We actually have, like, some LGBT, etc., like, confirmation. But then she's, like, holding a sword to her throat at the same time. So that was really confusing and upsetting. But I am very excited about all this Bumblebee stuff that's happening, because Yang seems very, like, she's always seemed pretty sad about Blake leaving, but this episode was like, whoa, she's really feeling it. And it was actually really interesting at the end of the episode, to notice that this whole episode was just about Team RWBY. Like, we didn't see really anyone else, which was awesome. And I think that's why they made this episode so good, because it was so character focused. Except for the very end bit where we got the fight scene, which Gira turning into a werewolf was hilarious. And I'm sure we're going to see more, but yeah, so it was a lot of highs and then some pretty dramatic lows, but I'm confused by this episode in the end. But it was good, but except for some bad things, basically. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's my review.
A lot of feelings. Andy, what are your feelings on Alone Together?
I think I'm, like, a little bit, and by a little bit, I really just mean a little bit higher on this than some people. Like, here, like, everyone in the community always loves the episodes, like, no matter what happens for some reason. But I think it's because I'm a little more hopeful, but I don't think that comes from anything other than just I want to be hopeful about something that they'll do better in the future. Like, clearly the Ilias scene was bad, and we'll talk about that. Or, like, some of the implications kind of were bad. I really did like the freezer burn scene, and I really liked the implication of Bumblebee. I loved Weiss bringing coffee to the group, and I for once actually liked Sun's part of the episode. Like, I thought he had an appropriate amount.
Yeah,
like,
because he didn't talk, right?
Yeah, no, usually he's just, like, always talking. This is, like, he felt like he was Blake's sidekick, and that's what he should be. Also, Blake got to punch someone out, and that was amazing. Like, Blake punching out that person was, like, my favorite moment of the episode.
Okay, that was the favorite moment. Interesting. Yeah, Spider-Woman. Yeah.
Yeah, favorite in, like, yes, but I mean, like, there was some good freezer burn moments earlier on that I was really feeling.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you all are burying the freezer burn here. I mean, come on. This is like, there's a
lot of freezer burn.
The big Bumblebee episode, but this is another big freezer burn episode. It's like the 5th in a row. Like, this is starting to become real. Okay. I have very, very complex feelings on this episode. Yeah. I've been sitting on this, this is like, 8.5 hours after it aired, and I still don't really know what to think. Here's what I will say, and don't take this the wrong way. This is nothing to do with a critical view of the episode or my evaluation of it in a problematic sense, or like any sort of, I'm not evaluating it socially. I'm not evaluating it critically when I say that when I was watching this episode, I enjoyed watching it more than I had any RWBY episode in a long, long time. I think from that standpoint, I was more engrossed in it. I enjoyed watching it more, and I was more interested in it. That's a better word. I'm more interested in what happened in this episode, I think, since volume 2. Like, I think this is the events of this were just so much better than so much of the nonsense that had happened. And there's even through the problematic even through everything through it, it's just it was just engrossing to me. And like I enjoyed watching RWBY more than I had for a long time. I think obviously all the stuff with RWBY in the beginning was excellent, and we can talk about that. The Blake and Ilya scene is really complicated for me because there's certainly a lot of problematic social aspects to it, and it's really problematic representation. The first aspect, the lead is that RWBY finally has its gay character that they've been promising for a long time, and they do it in a problematic way. At the same time, I think the scene was incredible. And I'm going to defend that. I think that the scene was actually actively great. If you can turn off the social lens,
That's why it's so confusing, because it was tied up in the middle of a really good scene. But then you end it and you're just like, oh, but no, but yes, but no.
Right.
And Ilya's voice actress was amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that. Yeah, the score, the voice acting was incredible.
The score was awesome.
Yeah. This is true of a lot of things, and it's not a valid statement, but if you can turn off the social lens for a second, which I'm not capable of doing, but if you can do that, then I do think this is one of the best scenes of RWBY in several seasons. And I'll defend that point. But yeah, it's, there's a lot to talk about. And, I personally love Ilya. And so this, she's been one of my favorites since last season, and seeing this spotlight for her, I think is really incredible. I think this is an incredible episode for her. This is, unsurprisingly, I mean, I think that obviously when RWBY's going to introduce a gay character, it's going to be super problematic. So I think that this is very unsurprising. It's possible that this is better than we expected from them, to be honest, which is not saying a lot. But I do think that there are some positives here, and a lot is going to depend on what happens next, but it's not going to take away from a few of the bad things that they did here. So so that's the first thing we're going to talk about is Ilya is our first, queer character on RWBY. They'd been promising this for 2 seasons, and we always assumed it was going to be a stupid side character because, they're terrible. But, I think Ilya's more prominent of a character than I expected from this. It's not like that one random teammate from Volume 3, right? From one of these nonsense teams. But, it is not one of our leads. It's Ilya. Ilya confesses her feelings to Blake while kidnapping her, as Delaney said. And there's a lot of aspects to this. I think the one we're going to spend the most time on is how this functions as a piece of representation in media. So from like a media outlook lens. But Delaney, how did you view this in terms of the show? Like, what do you think of Ilya as our gay character here, and what do you think of her feelings towards Blake?
Well, her feelings towards Blake, that makes sense. Like, they grew up together, and they do focus, in this episode and, previous episodes, how close Blake and Ilya were. They're kind of, this group of they were part of this group of young people in the White Fang, and, it makes sense. Ilya is clearly younger than Blake, and, looks up to her, it makes sense. Me too, Ilya, I feel you. Relatable. But, so that's obviously that's fine. It's not that Ilya has a crush on Blake that's a problem. Cool. And it's better, like you said, it is a side character, and I do think they still did a stupid side character, which I fully expected. I am glad it was if it had to be a stupid side character, it was Ilya, because at least we're getting to know her, and we're clearly still doing things with her. It's not oh, Ilya's gay and we're never going to talk about her again, which was my fear when when they're oh, we're going to have a gay character. I'm okay. But, so we're clearly going to talk about this more, so that's great. Obviously Ilya's still here. I feel like Ilya's probably going to die, which, that's great. Given the track they put her on, I feel like that's what's going to happen to her, which is tragic, and yay, bury your gays. But we don't know that yet. We'll find out. The issue with this is just how she did it. Really? You had to kidnap her? Are you serious? So, as it functions in the show, I'm glad it was Ilya, and I'm glad Ilya as a girl, Ilya is a female character, because all of our leads are female, and it's oh, you can be gay in this show. Interesting. Let's see what happens next. Maybe they're dipping their toes in the water, that kind of thing.
Right, yeah.
Maybe for Blake, it's not you're gay. Blake's just I just don't like you, but I'm really in love with Yang. Who knows? It's
anything's
fine.
Possible.
Yeah, so there's magic. We can be gay. It's fine.
Okay.
I'm glad. Setting precedent. I guess. We'll see what happens. So, like, as it functions in the show, yay, good job, RWBY, we have gay representation. You didn't do it very well, but I really didn't expect anything else. So,
right, like, Delaney,
yay.
isn't this better than you expected from the show? Like, as much as we kind of don't like what happened, yeah.
Right. Well, it's better in that I expected it to be a stupid side character, and their thing was going to be that they're like, I'm the LGBT character, and then we never see them again. So, in that regard only, I think this is better than what we expected. Because, like, I mean, I'm glad it's Ilya, and we're going to see more of her, so, like, we're obviously going to explore this more, especially the way they were like, I'm gay, Ilya disappears. So, like, we're obviously going to confront this later. So, I'm glad about that. Like, this is going to be a thing, and we're going to talk about it. So we'll see where that takes us. And the fact that it's nestled in this narrative where they literally juxtapose Blake and Yang staring longingly into the distance. So we'll see where that takes us.
Yeah, we're already hitting on a lot of the to be determines that I have written down here. Yeah.
I'm happy there's a gay character in RWBY because they didn't lie to us. It's here. It's actually happening. Because I was just like, they're lying. Okay, whatever. Like, it's going to happen in season 13. I'm going to forget. Like,
yeah.
But it's here. It happened. I'm just not super happy about, like, just the actual, like, the representation, like, is negative. But it's here, and, like, I'm happy that we have a gay character.
And I think one of the biggest things in terms of, how they executed on this from our expectations is they really are making an effort with Ilya's arc this season. Like, I think that this is a character they clearly care about here, and we spent a lot of time with her.
We had a solo scene with her. Like, we're going to, and, like, we even had the whole moment where she was like, oh, like, about Blake, and you want to kill her family? Like, that's awful. And so, like, we're doing things with this, like, we're elevating this character. Like, Ilya is becoming like Cinder. Like, these are going to be elevated characters.
Yeah, I think,
which is exciting.
Yeah, we're making a legitimate attempt here, and I do think Ilya is like a major secondary character now, at least this season. And it's clearly there's some death flags, and it's not clear whether we're doing anything with her ultimately, and that's going to depend a lot on how this ultimately is executed. Yeah, I don't know. Hayley, how do you feel about Ilya being our gay character here?
I think it makes sense, because I feel like as soon as we met her, I was like, yep, you're the gay character. Like,
really? Away.
Right away. Yeah, I was like, oh, her and Blake have some history. So I'm not surprised at all that it's her. And yeah, I'm happy it's her, especially because, like you were saying, she really is not just a whatever side character that we're never going to see again. Clearly, in storytelling terms, we're going to see more from her, and this is going to be talked about again, or else it would be really strange and wouldn't make any sense to bring it up now and then have her poof away. So it's good in that terms. So it's not just like a one-off thing. And yeah, I like her being the character that we're going to meet first too, because it doesn't surprise me much that she would be it, and it seems natural. And it's also nice because I was expecting her to be anyway. It's kind of validating for her to be the gay character, which is great. Because it's like, oh yeah, okay, like all of our wacky ship connections and stuff, like, we're not totally wrong in this, and it's never gonna happen in canon. So it's great to actually see it in canon.
Yeah, it should be noted that before this episode, there are literally 0 gay people in Remnant. Yeah, like this. So
there were crow people, but no.
Yeah, people can turn into crows, but we didn't have anyone who's not straight. But now we do. So it's a huge step for the show. Like,
yeah, it's big confirmation. Because like, honestly, I feel like a lot of people who are fans of the show, not everyone definitely, but like a lot of people who are the fans of the show are like, oh, Bumblebee for life, and like all the great ships that we all love. But then in the back of your head, it's like, it's been like however many seasons, are they ever going to actually confirm this? Like, everyone is just eternally straight. So it's really nice to have confirmation that there are gay people in this world, and it may have been not during the greatest of moments to have done it, because she's being presented as the antagonist in this moment, and then it's like, oh, by the way, I'm gay. So that was unfortunate to be connected. But like you were saying, Dylan, it's also during a really great scene, and it's
like the plot.
Yeah, and it's the plot, exactly, yeah. And it was great too, because it was I think probably one of the longest and most powerful speaking moments and scenes for Ilya, which is really great. And I feel like we got to know her even more and see her, be powerful, but also like how she's kind of tortured inside and confused herself with everything that's going on. So I think it was a really good character moment. I wish it wasn't also at the same moment that she's kidnapping her, but I think it could have been way worse. So I'm happy in the end.
Yes.
And like you were saying, I think seeing how this continues is really what's going to prove it's, like how we're going to remember it is what's going to happen next.
Yeah, more on that later. The only thing with this plot thing, in terms of like, thankfully this was part of the plot, is the only thing is I've heard Miles and Carrie talk about this subject, and it's not surprising to me that they did it this way, that they had Ilya and they took a painstakingly long time to reveal this about her, and only in the context of a plot scene, because they're the type of people that say, "Oh, I don't want to shoehorn in the gay representation." So that's the only thing that I don't like about commenting about it. Like, thankfully it's part of the plot, because it almost validates their stupid perspective.
Yeah,
like
it does.
You could have just incidentally shown Ilya as being gay earlier. It's not, and it doesn't need to only be in this crucial moment. And I think that's where they're coming from. And like, that's not to say we can't make this plot discussion, because we don't even need to consider their dumb perspective. Like, we can just factor it out entirely.
Well, I'm just happy it's that, because I know we're going to see it again.
Mm-hmm.
And like, they're making it a focus, because like they can't not talk about this later. So, like, that's why I think it's a good thing. But no, I agree, like, this, like, stupid idea of, like, oh, we can't, like, that's not, no.
Yeah, we're happy about it being as part of the plot for, like, from a different angle, their perspective's just not important here. Yeah, Andy?
No, I was just, is it my turn?
Yeah. Comment on any of this, yeah.
Get in there.
I wasn't saying much, because I think you guys have a couple more valid opinions on this than I do. Like, Ilya, I like Ilya being gay. I think that's been stated over and over again. Like, Ilya's fine. I'm fine with that. And again, the scene is, wish it wasn't kidnapping when it happened. But unfortunately, the part I like most about this is the implication on other things, not necessarily Ilya herself, because it was I have so many mixed feelings about what's going on right now. Like, but I do like the implication on other characters and not just this season, but this episode, because not only is Yang paralleling Blake in this episode, but Weiss is paralleling Ilya in this episode. And that seems important to me, but I don't like how they brought it up. Like, they could have done this in so many different ways. We were already doing these really great parallels, and Ilya's just like being used as a plot device, which if this is all, because I'm worried that this will be all we get from Ilya, of the only mention we get of this. And that would be really bad, but that's getting into other stuff we're going to talk about later, I think. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just, you guys said a lot already. I don't have much more to say than you guys already put into this.
Yeah, I think if you introduce Ilya's feelings for Blake earlier, that a fair amount of this problematicness goes away. It's still kind of bad that we're leading to this kidnapping thing. But it's different of, like Delaney said, her coming out while she's kidnapping her versus it's just a long-term plot for this character. I think that being said, and Delaney, check me on this, because this is this a tough one? So tell me if I'm, saying if I'm wrong here, but I just found the scene to be so powerful. And I know the problematic aspects of it, but I still think they portrayed Ilya's feelings in a really genuine way. And it was really powerful because of the backstory we had with them. And, despite certain elements, I feel like that it's still like a really validating thing from, just her expressing such intimate feelings. I don't know. I just find the scene to be overall very powerful. Do you think that's a thing that's allowed to happen? Like, despite it being problematic, it can still be good. Is that possible?
Well, I mean, the power in this situation, like, to me, the scene just reads predatory lesbian so bad, and like, it's so painful.
Yeah.
Like, that part of it, because we have this whole,
talk about that. Yeah.
Like, that's the thing that bothers me, is the predatory, like, it's, well, and then she's like, well, you like Adam, but I'm gonna send you to Adam, and like, that's like the worst part of it. Also because we hate Adam, and he's the worst character ever, and he's garbage. But like, I mean, it's great. Like, I mean, I do agree that, I mean, the scene is powerful. Like, well, it's just like, when Adams, like, fought Yang and Blake, it was a very powerful scene. It was awful.
Okay, fair. For me, this resonated a lot more than that Adam scene. Is what I'm saying.
Obviously.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I agree. I don't know. It's just, to me, like, as a lesbian, like, watching it was very, like, it was a different experience because, like, it's just, like, it's mainly because, like, I've kidnapped you and we're going to murder your family, but I need you to know that I love you. Like, what? No! But, like, I mean, it's just difficult. Like, to me, it's difficult, this whole, like, it is a really good scene. You can enjoy it and still understand that, like, there's stuff wrong with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let's talk about the stuff wrong, because we're kind of going right. So Delaney mentions the predatory lesbian thing. I have a list of common problematic gay representation tropes that are frequently executed on television, and we're going to go through these. And I want to know which the scene is doing and which the scene is not doing.
Oh man!
Because I think that it hits on a lot of
it's all of them, man.
Common problemating things. Personally, I think there's some it is doing and some it's not doing, but I'm open to being wrong about this. So,
at least Ilya didn't get like murdered, so that's good.
Okay. Yeah, that is one on my list. Yep. Okay. Right. So there's like 10 things on this list. So, Delaney, I want to go
find this.
No, so I just read through Tumblr.
It's on the internet.
I read through Tumblr for a while, and I compiled what people were saying. Some of it I agreed with, some of it I disagreed with, and I added one or two my own, myself. So yeah, I'm going to bring something up. Delaney, you tell me whether you think that this scene is doing this or not. Okay. First of all, we are portraying the mentally unstable lesbian character. The token lesbian is mentally unstable. Do you think that this is true?
Yes. Well, we talked about it. Hayley said she's confused, which is like a really terrible thing they do in media is like, oh, I'm confused about these different things. So maybe I'm also confused about my sexuality. Like they were kind of like getting at that. I almost jumped. When I say I jumped, I almost jumped on what Hayley said. I like not at Hayley, but like when you said that, I wanted to mention this. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what definitely I think that's what they're doing. Like she's confused and Blake's like pleading with her to like, it's okay. And like that happens. So yes. Like, and she showed, like, it's not that she's like, we don't know what she's going to do, but like we have seen these moments of kind of quote unquote weakness versus these moments of she's certain and she's like, I'm going to like do whatever the White Fang tells me. Like we've seen her be like, I don't know about Blake.
Okay, I'd argue you're saying yes to a different problematic trope. I think you're saying like she's confused about her sexuality. I think that's valid. I don't think she's crazy though. Like I think a lot of people are saying here's the token crazy lesbian. I think Ilya's mentally stable. I think she's mentally sound. I don't know if this applies.
She's she's in a very emotional situation too. Like she's basically facing her like crush and friend being sent away and she'll never see her again and she's gonna murder her family as well. Like there's
I think Ilya's rational here,
Yeah, she's very rational, but she's just being faced with a lot of things, which I don't think means that she's mentally unstable, but I think she's just, I don't know. I think that added to the scene as well, was that you could really feel her like inner battle of like, I want to help her, but also all these other, like, idealized things and everything that she's been kind of indoctrinated with for so long, with that she has to help her species, and her crush on Blake might be a valid thing, but that has to be pushed aside for the betterment of the faunus. Like that's a lot happening all at once. And I don't think that she's the token crazy lesbian though with that. But
I think though but I think you have to incorporate everything we know about Ilya, which one of those things is the character short we got for quote unquote Blake this season, but it was really an Ilya short. And that short pretty much showed that she was really aggressive towards things. Like she talked about how she like knocked everyone's teeth out when somebody got mad, like somebody laughed at her essentially.
I have very little memory of that short, but
in her defense, they were racist, but still she reacted by beating.
So you're saying she has like anger problems or something?
Yes, and that seems to play into this trope.
So that would play into the trope, yeah.
And she definitely does have, and some of the things she does in this scene could be viewed as anger problems. Like she definitely has it a little bit under control more, because that short was played off as being a couple years ago, because Blake was still in the White Fang.
Yeah.
So maybe she's got a little under control, but it's still there.
Yeah, that's a valid point. That does play into it. I do think we are doing uncertainty about morals and her political stance equals uncertainty about sexuality. I do think that they're doing a little bit of that, which is bad. Yeah, I don't know. Any fair or unfair, Delaney, that she's maybe not the token crazy?
Well, I just wasn't sure what was all on your list, but I would say that this, like, not necessarily mentally unstable. I wasn't sure what was all encompassing.
Right, I did say
mentally unstable.
Yeah. Okay. Either way, we found problematics already in number 1. That was a point on my no, and we still found problematic stuff on it, so that's not a good sign. It's okay. Delaney mentioned the predatory lesbian trope. The question is Ilya being abusive here towards, abusive or predatory? And I think you would say yes, Delaney.
Well, yeah, in that, like, I mean, just the power imbalance. Like, she's kidnapping her, they're going to kill her family, and then she tells her she loves her. No, you can't do that. It's not okay. It's not necessarily, like, it's not like it's textbook predatory lesbian, but that's just how it felt when I watched it. Like, I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
It's just that idea of, like, someone is vulnerable, and, like, there's that fanged lesbian breathing down your neck behind you, like.
You feel vulnerable when there's a sword at your neck? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, sometimes, I mean.
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, it's hard to say that that's not the case for this scene, for the scene specific. I will say, not gonna argue against that this is not what's happening. I do think that before this scene, she's not shown this at all towards Blake.
Oh, no, like, it's literally just the same. Like, Ilya, like, you know, knowing now that, like, she's gay and, like, loves Blake or whatever, and we look back, like, it doesn't seem like, it doesn't really feel that way at all. Like, it's not like she's like, you have to date me or anything. Like,
no, just when she's in the process of kidnapping her.
And should be noted, I think I don't think that they intended to do this. I think that, and they actively tried to work against it, because she isn't doing this of her own accord. She's been told to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. And she didn't want to do it, like.
And she didn't want to. So she's had an internal conflict, but she's like executing orders here.
Yes.
So I don't think it's a traditional display of this bad trope.
Right. It's not like it's the character. Like, the problem is, like, they put this character in a situation where, like, oh, we're gonna reveal this character is gay while she's kidnapping, like, this other character.
Mm-hmm. Right. It would have been better if it was, like, something, I don't know, maybe if they had redone the scene where we saw that revelation before she got kidnapped, like, you know, during a moment where she was like, you know, I have to do this, but I don't know, rather than at the moment of her, like, holding a sword to her neck. That might have been a little less bracing, but
there's clearly a way to do this better. I think that's the main thing. Yeah, okay. Number 3. So she has, her motivations for kidnapping her are based off of, based off of her jealousy towards, the girl she likes. So she's, like, doing stuff based off of jealousy towards the girl she has feelings for. Yes or no, Delaney?
Well, I mean, so we've established that she's under orders, but I think it's very clear that, like, she kind of found that motivation. Like, because we see the scene where she's like, I don't want to do this, like, because she, like, likes Blake, and, like, she's really close to her, and she doesn't want to do it. But then, like, Blake starts talking to her, and she gets mad real quick, and she just throws it out there. You know, very vindictively, like, well, I wanted you to look at me that way. Like, and then then it kind of colors the whole scene.
That's fair. Okay. I hadn't thought of it like that. I definitely, as said before, her motivations for kidnapping her specifically have nothing to do with her feelings. But you're right. They do kind of bring it into play in the scene.
But that's, like, the problem with it. Like, it's like, because, like, that's, it, like, becomes that.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're left with at the end of the scene.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Like, I do agree that, like, she's under orders. It's not like, of her own volition, she was like, I'm going to go kidnap Blake and send her to Adam.
Mm-hmm. I wish we had a little cut moment of seeing her walk away and, like, feeling emotional and feeling bad about what she did, because instead she just disappears and then we don't see her again. I think it would have been good to bookend that a little bit.
Just like a face cam. That's
real
well, and quick. The thing is, like, they just used, like, she was just the lure. Like, she's not even really the one who kidnapped her.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, obviously she was a part of it. Like, she's an accomplice. But, like they just used her to lure her. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. This isn't good because we're adding to my yes list. Let's do some easy yeses. IMO here. So she's the token evil lesbian, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah.
Again, should be noted, we have spent a lot of time with her motivations, and she has been shown as being uncertain and morally gray, and I think they've done a great job with that this season, showing that she is not so clearly just blatantly evil like Corsic and Finnick. We've shown her just wavering, and she has conviction based off of like social justice, that she thinks this is the right thing to do. So I think that's, you know, she's a powerful stance on what she's doing. She from our perspective though, watching the show, she is the token evil gay though.
Yeah. That's the problem. She's the antagonist of this episode, but we also have to remember that in her mind, at least, and probably in the minds of a lot of Faunus, is that if she doesn't follow through what they're telling her, she is literally going to be kicked out of her entire society. Like, that's
or more likely killed.
Or killed. Yeah, exactly. Like there's really big consequences, and I think she's probably thinking like, well, I'm in so deep already. And then she's been listening to this rhetoric about like, we have to kill all the humans and everything. So, I think that's why I like her so much, is that she's such a complicated character. And that's why this scene is so complicated, because it's not just like, oh, she's bad and then this happens. Like, she's very confusing in her motivations, and it's really interesting. It's a good characterization.
Yeah, you know, it's that her having complex motivations and being morally gray can be separate from all this, and all of this is still valid. And exactly, valid that this is like problematic in spite of all that. Yeah. Okay. Next easy yes. She's crushing on the straight girl main character.
Yep.
Yeah. Bad. Yeah.
Hurts my soul.
Unless Bumblebee is.
Please. Oh my god. My soul would leave my body.
Okay, I'm to be determined. And here's my line. I just added this one because I thought of it, but this reminded me of Mistcons, another show we covered. But I feel like a lot of a very high percentage of the lesbian portrayals we see on TV are like childhood best friends. Kind of almost as if you can't have feelings towards a member of the same sex unless it's like been it's so heavily like developed and stuff. And this is kind of a good and bad, because it's good if you show like deep feelings. But this is just the Xth example that I've seen of this type of thing. So
because there's like, which like, there is the typical like boy and girl grow up together, they end up together, that's fine. But like, no, I agree, because there's that whole like, you have to. Like, it's almost like you can't just be like, hey, I really like this person.
Yes.
Like, they show it, because a lot of times when they do it this way, it's like, oh, it's just this person, and like, it kind of almost like glazes over the fact that like, maybe they just like that, like.
Yeah, the gay life partners trope. Yeah. And, it's casual same-sex feelings are almost never shown on TV.
Right.
I can't think of that one example, to be honest. So, I mean, I'm sure there is, but like not on any of the other shows we cover. So, there you go. Here's some to be determined. So here's where they could improve depending on what happens. Obviously, will we do the fridging the lesbian trope? Will Ilya be dying soon? And if she does, this is a million times worse.
Yes. I feel like she has a giant X on her back now.
Certainly, yeah. I mean, even before this scene, Ilya was on my list of characters that might die. Yeah. So I actually think the scene makes her less likely to die, because it's just so open now that this is a bad thing to do. We've just seen this in so many shows over and over and people get upset and creators like apologize. It's just like, how could they possibly just do this?
It'd be so ignorant. It would just be shooting themselves in the foot.
I think this does increase the chance of a heroic sacrifice of some kind, though. Some of the things actually said in this, like, that's what I'm worried about. That she's gonna have a heel turn in the fight to assassinate her parents, and then she'll die, and it'll be one of the stupid.
Or like when they like take Haven.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah, and just by virtue of her being a prominent side character now that was introduced late, like she. Just is pretty anyway. If she dies at all anytime this season, that will make this exponentially worse. So we've established she's the token evil, but she could have redemption. Are we doing Ilya-demption? Will she turn good? Delaney, would that improve the situation?
I mean, it would, because like she's not like, it's not like, oh, we have this we have like the evil gay, but like it still doesn't like erase like the power imbalance weird thing that happened. And like it's still the, you know, like crushing on a straight girl as far as we know. But I mean, it would just be great for Ilya's character and like the show. And I mean, it would make it a little less hurtful that she's like not evil.
Yeah.
But then it kind of would also play into tropes and that like, are you only good because you love Blake? Like what's going on? So.
Yeah, I think it'd be good for her character too. It seems like that's the natural point for her character is to turn on the White Fang and change sides. Because
if she kills Adam, she'll be like my favorite character ever.
Oh, that would be whoever kills Adam automatically. Character. Let's
get a gold medal.
Okay, Ilya and Blake together because Blake has to be hard. Like Blake has to kill Adam.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it. Blake has to be the one to kill him.
Blake must be involved in some way.
Yeah, Ilya Demption would help a lot.
I think it would be good.
It wouldn't solve these issues. But it would, it's better than not doing it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, next.
It's better than them just killing her and like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's another to be determined. Right now, her sexuality is defined by her crush on Blake. Like we haven't seen her like any other girls. So right. I think that if we were to show her expressing feelings towards another girl, that would help things a lot.
Or like, if Blake was like, well, I knew Ilya liked girls, but I didn't know she liked me.
That would be a good thing too.
That'd be cool. I'd be fine with that, but like,
I want to see them actually like sit down and talk.
Yes.
I don't think we're going to get any more professions of like love or anything from Ilya, just because, I mean, what is this? The fourth profession of like feelings towards another character in total? Like there's Pirajon, Neptune, and Sun, and those are the only other three characters that have ever had affection that have been confirmed. Like, I don't think we're going to get more from Ilya than this.
The show doesn't typically show people expressing feelings towards another person, yes.
And
not Neptune towards Sun, to the chagrin of a lot of shippers.
Sorry. I phrased that poorly.
But, towards our heroes, respectively. But, so that would help. And here's the biggest thing that the show would do to make all this go away, is to show a romance between two of our female leads.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yes,
if we do Bumblebee, like who even cares? I mean, it's still bad.
If Bumblebee happens, like honestly, I don't care.
The show can no wrong after that.
I think this episode really is pushing freezer burn. Like I said, I think Ilya and Weiss are supposed to be parallels in this episode. I think they're supposed to be telling us that Weiss is confirmed gay without actually saying it.
Come on, is that really you? Like, I mean, okay, so this plays into the next thing I have, Mattline, which is should we give Rooster Teeth the benefit of the doubt here? Like, I get that that's what the episode says, but we've just seen so much evidence to the contrary that they would put something like this in one of their episodes. So unless they throw it at us, I'm not going to believe it.
I refuse to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
I'm not saying,
but it was like so much Bumblebee and Freezer Burn.
I agree, but the thing is, like, do they know?
I don't know.
I'm not saying we should give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm saying I'm just trying to be hopeful one time for this show. That's all I'm saying.
I would define that as blind optimism, Andy.
Okay, sure. You can define that like that way, Dylan. Yeah. I have blind optimism that Weiss is confirmed gay because of this, but
here's the regular reminder. Miles and Carrie actually are progressive people. You know, you can see them tweeting anti-Trump stuff and stuff like that. You know, so this isn't not in play. I'm just saying, you know, we've just seen no evidence to suggest that they would do something like this.
Also, they tend to be very bullheaded when this topic is brought up.
Yes, that's the biggest thing is that they're like, Kurosami wasn't built up well. One of them literally said that. So
then do it well yourself then. Like, if it's so bad, do it yourself.
Yeah. Maybe that's what they think they're doing. Cause I feel like this episode, like maybe I'm being wishful, but it seemed like they were really pushing like all of these characters are gay. Cause they, like all the stuff with Yang and just feeling like really hurt by Blake not being around and avoiding the question of like, oh, like why do you miss her so much? And she just like would walk away and not answer. And then we had that lovely Weiss and Yang scene and everything. And then like I was already like gayest episode of the show ever. I'm all for it. And then we had Ilya come out to Blake. Like that was insane that they put all of this together in one episode. So I really hope that we're not just being like too optimistic, but I think I think they were hinting at a lot of things very strongly.
Oh, children, you guys are way too optimistic.
Well, you never know. This season, they have improved on things that we have told them we don't like.
Yeah.
So
okay, let's table that for a second.
thing.
Let's get into Bumblebee and Freezer Mode. First, let me conclude this section. Delaney, here's my conclusion statement. Like, overall, does this episode, so on one hand, we had the first gay character, the show finally did it. It was more of a major character than we thought. On the other hand, they executed really poorly and did a lot of problematic tropes. Do you feel better or worse about RWBY as a show after this episode?
I actually feel better about RWBY because, like, so they've been, like, stringing us along for 2 seasons that there's going to be a gay character. And I was like, okay, sure, Jan. It actually happened, so I'm impressed. On top of that, ignoring, like, the problematic issues with Ilya coming out, this episode's really great. Like, I really enjoyed this episode. Like you were saying, this is the most excited I've been about RWBY in, like, forever. Because I don't, like, great, Ozpin's back. He's a little boy. This is weird. Don't care. All I care about is that Team RWBY is getting back together. And like, that's why this episode is so great, because they're all together and they're being cute and they're being snarky and it's amazing. And I love it. And Yang is madly in love with Blake and it's awesome. And so, like, I do feel pretty good about, I'm actually excited to see where we go, because stuff's finally happening. Oh my god. After Volume 4, and I was just like, in me, please. Like, put me out of my misery.
Yeah, okay. That makes me feel not as bad about feeling better about the show. Okay, because I agree with that.
I don't hate you, Dylan. It's okay. Well, it's like, okay, as a lesbian, in case people didn't realize that I'm gay, and I talk about my girlfriend all the time.
Wait, really? What?
What?
No, okay, check it.
Yeah. I know. Everyone's so shook right now. Like, I really did enjoy the episode. And, yeah, the Ilya stuff's like, ugh. But it was a powerful scene, and we have a gay character, and she's hopefully not going to die in the next 2 episodes, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't hold my breath.
Yeah, I know. I don't have a lot of hope, but I'm just saying. Like, I didn't say I hope. It's not that I have a lot of confidence in that.
Yeah,
but,
just hopefully, yeah. Yeah, so you'll see. I've seen a lot of discourse. Like I said, I read Tumblr for a while on this. Never a good thing. But, there's people who are excited, obviously, and then there's other people who are like, we shouldn't be happy about this representation because it was problematic.
Okay, that's the thing. Like, there's the, like, what, to get anything from RWBY, I think is like, oh my god, like, we need to take our scraps and, like, pray over them and see what happens. Now, if this was like the CW, we should burn them. But
yeah, it's a different situation. Yeah,
like, they're different situations, and like, I didn't think this was going to happen, so I'm like, okay, we're going somewhere, maybe.
Yeah, I also think these two things can stand together. I think you can say, yes, we shouldn't be like, yay, Rooster Teeth, good job and when it was problematic representation. And you can also feel better about the show moving forward. Like, I think those both can be true.
Also, we can be hopeful that they are watching the community. They can see the reaction we have. Like, this seems like they definitely do listen.
Whether
they listen well is another question.
Okay, to be fair, we have talked about this season that they seem to be listening, because they kind of did every single thing we wanted them to do the season after. Yeah. This is the other thing. Like, to be honest, they've kind of checked off everything we wanted from when we were talking about Volume 4. So okay, let's talk about Freezer Burn and Bumblebee.
Back, gay,
right. Team RWBY's back.
John's
they're doing Freezer Burn. Yeah, John, exactly. We've been talking about this. John's not prominent. They've been. Honestly, like, it's
and the coming out was very explicit too. It wasn't just like, you can be like, oh, maybe it didn't. No, she was like, I love you. Like, that was pretty, you can't just spin that. So that's good.
Yeah, and I'll talk more, but I'll circle back to the scene later. I also just think the way they expressed, Ilya with the chameleon features, with her, like, blushing through all of her spots and then going
very
angry
cool.
after. It only enhances the jealousy problematic stuff, but it was just really striking visual. Okay. Let's talk Bumblebee and Freezer Burn. Delaney, you haven't been here for a while to comment on the rise of Freezer Burn, Yang and Weiss. We've been feeling it. Have you been feeling it when you were watching these episodes?
Yes, obviously, because Weiss is like all quiet and she's like, are you okay? And then in this episode, she's like, she comes and sits on the bed, and I'm like, oh my god! This scene, I thought Weiss was gonna be like, Yang, I also love Blake. That's honestly what happened. Like, I was like, we're like, we need to have a talk. Like, that's what I thought was gonna happen. But then Weiss is just so nice, and like when she's like, y'all are my family, and that's how I think Blake feels, and I'm here for you too. I was like, no, I feel Freezer Burn. I just feel like this episode was also super Bumblebee with the juxtaposition. I just love stuff like that. Like, I just live for that nonsense. But no, Freezer Burn's real. Like, they all just love each other, and it's great.
Delaney, I made the statement on these preceding few weeks, which is that as much as I'm like the biggest White Rose shipper, and I also ship Bumblebee, I would gladly put those two aside if we got canon Freezer Burn.
Okay, if we can only have one pair, I don't care what it is.
Wait, okay, here's the second part. Delaney, I also made this statement. I would gladly accept the following 3 ships being Earth Canon 3 ships.
Oh my god, are you about to say Rose Garden or whatever?
Rose Garden, Freezer Burn, and Black Sun. And if they put Sun and Blake together. I would put up with those 2 other ones if we got Freezer Burn canon.
No, I can't. I absolutely cannot live with Black Sun. I can't.
Wait, the Black Sun's
Bumblebee angst is so good, though.
I can handle Rose Garden because Oscar's cute and he's precious, but I absolutely cannot. Like, Sun has to go. Like, I
so
can't.
Harsh about Sun. Rose Garden is so much more of a problematic ship than Black Sun.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Okay, yeah, no, because it's Ozpin and it's really weird. And like, I'm still really messed up over like after the talk, and Ozpin was like, "Yeah, she's really remarkable, isn't she?" Like, Ozpin, shut up. You're such a weirdo.
That was one of the creepiest things he's done.
Yeah. Okay, I just can't accept your deal at all, Dylan. Like,
no deal? Okay.
No.
I take the deal, but
no, I can't take the deal. Like, that's literally, like, I can't do it.
Well, now you can substitute Ilya and Blake in place of that.
Would we do, canon Ilya Blake instead of, canon, Black Sun? That would be That'd be an easy deal, but yeah, no.
I'll slip that in instead.
Okay, the two gay ships? What? No. Okay, so the episode's really interesting because we get, serious Freezer Burn again. They're talking to each other, they're talking about their feelings, and, they look at each other, they're smiling, sitting close on the bed together, but they're also kind of just talking about, Bumblebee while they're having this, gay moment for themselves. It's very confusing. What am I supposed to ship here?
Bumblebee.
You're supposed to ship Bumblebee. Like the whole time.
Okay.
No, we're shipping Freezer Burn I'm shipping Freezer Burn all the way. This is a Freezer Burn moment. No one can convince me otherwise.
Okay, here's how I'm reading this scene. I think they're all gay, but, no, they're like a trio of lesbian friends. Weiss doesn't romantically like Yang, but understands her feelings and is supporting her. But they all love each other. But I think that Bumblebee will be endgame rather than Freezer Burn, even though I love Freezer Burn. But I think also the Freezer Burn just relationship, even on a platonic level, is so good as well and supportive. And I'm all for it. Just their general
Ice and fire.
Zitara. Yeah, exactly.
Oh god.
But
Stop.
the amount of angst that Yang had about Blake this episode was amazing. And I'm all for it. And I really am excited for them to be together, and see their confrontation. But yeah, I don't know. It's so confusing.
They're gonna yell at each other and then they're gonna hug each other and
yeah,
then
exactly. Kiss. Yeah. That's gonna happen.
I mean, that's gonna happen. But I thought this scene was more about Weiss helping Yang realize Blake, but I'm here for you now. That's how I viewed the scene. That's what Weiss says at the end. I'm here for you instead of Blake right now.
I really read the whole scene about Yang being really, really gay for Blake. Yeah. Well, that's the whole scene.
It is. I think that's how you're supposed to read it. But Weiss is Blake's not here. Blake, maybe Blake did leave you, but we're still here for you. That's how I saw it.
It was also how Weiss has, and as you said, they're her family.
And then be but.
Yeah.
I feel like y'all Bumblebee shippers are more shipping goggles for Bumblebee specifically than I was for White Rose. I feel like this is confirmed now.
The Bumblebee is so real.
I roll. We also had let me give you my White Rose moment of the episode just to shoehorn this.
Oh no, White Rose happened. I know it happened.
I knew it was gonna happen.
Weiss brings them coffee, and Weiss says, "Don't worry, I put blasphemous amounts of cream and sugar just for you," to RWBY, and Ruby says, "Oh yeah, nice Weiss strikes again."
Love that.
Hashtag nice Weiss.
Obvious. White Rose is real, duh. We already knew that.
They're they're so funny together.
Well, the whole again, I wasn't here, but come here, Weiss. I'm crying. The whole scene, RWBY starts crying, I start crying. Yeah. My girlfriend was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "It's so good."
Yeah. The RWBY hug, yeah. Oh,
but this was immediately followed by Weiss and Yang clinking their mugs together while RWBY's just kind of the third wheel in the background. Clearly Weiss and Yang are supposed to have a different relationship than the one
because RWBY's a child.
And Yang's sister as well.
Okay, well, I'm going to make an official proclamation here. This is going to anger many. I am officially jumping off the Bumblebee ship in favor of Freezer Burn.
No,
You're
Dylan,
going to sink with your ship. Goodbye.
Yep, goodbye.
It's moved
First
up
it
to
was
number
White
two,
Rose.
number 2 on my rankings. No, White Rose is still number 1, but I'm moving.
Well, I'm going to make a
Freezer Burn up.
proclamation that Bumblebee I have given up on Ladybug forever.
Okay. You were like 5 seasons late on that, but okay.
Yeah.
Well, shut up. And Bumblebee, okay, Dylan can give me crap. Shut up, Andy. And Bumblebee is number 1.
Okay, Bumblebee number 1 now for you. Wow.
Always number 1. No,
Yeah.
it's so obvious. Like, you can totally see this happening. They'll like.
No, I'm not going to throw a fit if Freezer Burn happens, but
No, I'll be happy with any of it. But honestly, the Bumblebee, like, just picture it now. They meet up. Blake comes in really sad. They fight just a tiny bit and then kiss. Like, da 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 da. Like, you know it's gonna happen. You know. And especially, like, the amount that they were setting it up with Ilya coming out to Blake, like, this, out of this, I'm so on board.
Oh, Haley.
It's gonna happen.
You're just setting yourself up for disappointment
I
here.
know.
Like,
You shipped White Rose. Like,
I
come
never
on.
had any. I was never under any full impression that it would actually happen.
But
why
why
was
was
under the impression until this episode? I'm like, is Bumblebee real? Like,
Yeah,
I'm just
'cause, like,
worried. I'm just
what-
worried for you guys. Come
No,
on,
but
this is-
none of the other one, like Ruby and Weiss, are like
Dylan,
upset
but
that
did we
Blake's
actually
leaving.
think Korosami was going to happen? Like,
Yeah,
everyone
right.
in book 2 were like, they're crazy. And then we're
Yeah.
like, book 3, holy
Okay,
crap.
look.
Yang is like
Fair.
feeling a lot of emotions about Blake not being around. So I don't know.
She
There were a lot of
legit threw
awkward
an itsy
silences.
fit and left.
Yeah.
And they were all like, what?
Yeah.
Like, when her eyes went red, I was like, oh my god, it's going to happen.
Just feeling the passion. The passion.
Okay, so I'm gonna give my like 5th in a row episode reminder that Blake's storyline time-wise is taking place a month before our RWBY timeline. So
Deja vu.
it's still very in
Oh
play.
my god,
that-
what if Blake's dead?
No.
Why did you? Why did you bring that up?
Wait, what season was it where I was like, I swear to god, if Blake's dead?
Yes, well, every season I feel like, but
Yeah.
3, yeah. I
Yeah,
think we
but
were
I
worried
was-
about. We were really worried about Blake in Volume 3. Yeah.
And I'm gonna have a stroke. And then she gets stabbed. And I was like, no.
Right. Because when I was watching this, it's like, okay, in the present, Blake has been shipped off to Adam, but then they broke out. So like, yeah, so it's very in play that Weiss just shows up at the door in Mistral and reunites with Ruby, Weiss, and Yang, because
Yes.
what we're seeing is a month beforehand. So like, what are the actual chances that next episode or within the next 3 episodes, Blake shows up at their door and we have a Bumblebee reunion kiss?
Well, we had like an
Like-
angsty
Gang is
episode
just
where they
yelling
talked
about
it.
Blake, and Blake shows up.
Yeah.
Yes, like that could be that day. Like this day that we're
I'm
seeing
okay
here is the
with
day
it.
after
Yeah.
their Osmond creepily being like, "Enjoy the night." Last
Yeah.
last episode. So this is the next day. Yeah. So it could just be the same day. The chances it's not happening that Blake is going to show up and we're going to have the Bumblebee. Like,
Yeah, it is.
No.
You know it is.
They'll hug,
amount-
sure.
The
but-
amount of feelings and emotions that Yang has right now, and she's not even there, like, and now that she's talked about it with Weiss and Ruby, like, it's coming up. It's gonna be dramatic. It's gonna be great. I hope. I really hope.
Here's my I'm about to give a sentence that starts with taking the shipping goggles off for a second, but I found another shipping thing to talk about. What's the point of building up Freezer Burn if we're just going to do Bumblebee? That's my real question, because we've really
maybe
done
they're
it the
just
past 5
building
episodes.
up the relationships of the team too.
Because now
But
that
I'm
we have
also-
separation, because
Yeah.
Bumblebee is so like important and so in your face, Blake literally has to be somewhere else so we can have Weiss and Yang hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it did. We've strengthened the probably weakest dynamic of any 2 members of Team RWBY, Weiss and Yang, going into this volume, and arguably one of the strongest now. So yeah, and Blake being away, I guess, helps that. Okay, I'll do this in the next sentence. Taking the shipping goggles off for a second. I think that this scene was really well done in interplaying multiple like relationship dynamics. Not even necessarily romantic, but very intimate dynamics between Yang and Weiss, and Yang's feelings towards Blake. And I think it was so excellently done. Like, some of the dialogue was still pretty stilted and typical RWBY dialogue, but
But
I
it
think
wasn't like as cliche. Like, it didn't physically make me want to like shut my phone off like when Rin was talking.
Yeah. Ren is like walking cliches. Yeah, that's his character. But, they like start the sequence by monologuing and to each other kind of interrelatedly, classic RWBY. But then we actually like start them talking about their feelings and how they feel about Blake leaving and how they each have like different types of loneliness. And I thought it was like really poignant and, and they're just like comforting each other. They're comforting each other and talking about themselves while also talking about Blake. Yeah. And I just thought it's really excellently done.
No, it was incredible. Also, like, Bechtel test, blown up.
Yeah.
Exploded.
Yes.
Finally, good job.
Like last season we didn't, like, non-existent. Yeah. This season just passed many times. Yeah.
And vocalizing how much the other person means to them too, because that's something where throughout this whole series, like, we can definitely tell that the group is very close. And we always say, like, they're basically like family, but this is Weiss went out and said, you guys are my family. And yes. I know we all feel that way. Like, that was like, yes, awesome.
Yeah, so that's hashtag nice Weiss, which,
nice
Weiss. I've been talking a lot about, which is that, Weiss is full, Delaney mode now. She's no mean parts of her anymore. She's just sweet Weiss. And RWBY says it here. Yep. Hashtag nice Weiss. I think keep doing more of it. Let's go over the Bumblebee moments and the Freezer Burn moments. So, the big Bumblebee moments, I think Yang says, she doesn't have to be alone though. I was here for her. We all were.
Yay!
Yeah. She also says, how could I be there for her if she doesn't let me? What if I needed her here for me?
That killed me. That was like, oh dang. Like that was
no, it's like I was like, it's coming.
Yeah, that was so much Bumblebee there. Like
also, like Yang expressing her feelings and like
right? And also she wasn't like that when she wasn't with Weiss, like, or when she wasn't with RWBY. She wasn't like, oh, how could she leave me, like, and crying. Like, no, it's with Blake that she's like that.
Just on a Yang note, Yang expressing feelings here is, like, revolutionary for her character.
Yeah.
She just doesn't do that. Yeah, I think Yang kind of before the season was just actively not a great character. And I think she's improved a lot here, because we've actually, like, seen...
Yeah, she was pretty one-dimensional before.
Yes.
I also like that it shows that her hand shaking wasn't related to fighting. It was related to the people that have left her, because her hand shook when she was getting close to Raven. Now it shook when she's thinking about Blake. Like, I think that's a better tie-in to what's going on with her being nervous and possibly still having problems based on the fact that she lost her arm. Like, I think that's a better way than just like she can't fight anymore, because I don't think that's what's happening now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk Freezer Burn. So we had the hand on the shoulder during this talk. And, we had this great quote at the end. I know we're not as close, but I'm here for you too. And then they like stare into each other's eyes and smile.
What is that like fist clench thing that like Weiss does? Like,
yeah, that was a little weird.
What's that about? Like, they kept focusing. I'm like, what? Like, I don't get it.
I think it was just her being mad at her family.
I don't know. Yeah, Weiss talks about, her dad and her brother, does not talk about Winter.
She specifically said, I was so frustrated, she said, I think of you guys more than my dad and my brother. Like, that means nothing, Weiss. Your dad and brother...
I know!
Yeah.
Right. Your brother's the worst.
We all know they're terrible people.
I think
where's Winter? Like...
Yeah, I think we didn't include Winter because we're showing that Weiss still loves Winter, so she wouldn't include her in that sentence.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It was a poorly structured sentence, because it made it seem like Winter's more important than Gay.
To be fair, Whitley is not the worst, but,
he's pretty much the worst.
He is.
Yeah.
So a lot of Whitley hate. Okay, so these and then they're outside with the coffee and it's very interesting that they brought Bumblebee back in play, because we were just so much on the Freezer Burn for a long time. And Delaney, thoughts on the motorcycle scene with the
I mean, obviously gay and like just very tenderly wrapped on the motorcycle. Very delicately. Oh, it's
leaning
so
up against her.
Yes.
If we ignored any history of Rooster Teeth here and the people writing the show, I think that it seems like we're building up to a love triangle between Weiss, Yang, and Blake.
I mean, honestly.
Wow.
That's what the season gives the impression of.
Yeah. That would be insane.
But again, should we give them the benefit of the doubt?
I absolutely don't think that's coming. Okay, so I've been scarred way too much.
But what if it did? Like, whoa. Mind blown.
Yeah. I want to circle back to the Ilya and Blake scene for a second, just to talk about it from just an overall lens, because there's a whole section of them discussing the role of the White Fang before we get into the nonsense. So, I think that this scene, I posted like the straight dialogue to it. I was like, okay, I'm going to transcribe the important parts. Like, I don't transcribe everything in the episode for my notes, and I just kept typing. Like, all of it seems like big when I can. And I posted it on our Discord, and it's like, okay, when you're reading it, this doesn't seem like good dialogue. It it seems just like Andy said, like campy dialogue, but it was really powerful in the scene, I think, when they're talking about the White Fang.
Mm-hmm.
I think it comes together. I think we've talked about it. It's the score. I think that the music behind this is excellent. I also think this is like, I made this claim. This is the most well voice acted scene of the entire show. I think that, Aaron Zek, by Blake's voice actor, is incredible here, way better than, the typical non-professional voice actors are on RWBY. And I think that, Ilya, voiced by Jeremy Lay, is outstanding. Like, just shines so much. Might be the best voice actress on the show. Like, I just think they really kill this scene. I think that maybe the highlight line is, when Ilya says, there's the humans that still hate the Faunuses, and there's the others that just stand by and let the hate happen. I thought that was a very relevant and, actually somewhat socially complex line from the show. And it ends by being like, Ilya says, I don't like hurting people, but I'll tell you this, it's gotten us results. And Blake says, yeah, look where it's gotten you. And I think that line is delivered so well. It's not like super intelligent dialogue, but I just think it all comes together so incredible in that scene.
And it is, I do defend that this is pretty campy, but again, campy dialogue can be sold by really good characters that you really understand the motivations of. And like, I feel like we finally kind of got there with Ilya in this scene, even though there was problematic stuff there, and we have always been there with Blake. And so this scene just kind of landed really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In terms of the stuff we were talking, like, other than the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also explaining her character motivations too, because she doesn't seem like an outright violent person. Like, she really does just want to be respected, and like, we gotta remember, her parents were like killed in a mine. Like,
well, it's not even for her. She can pass as human.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
For the other Faunuses.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that was part of her little backstory video, is that she was able to pass and then not, and then overheard all these people and everything, and like laughing about like her parents dying and stuff like that. So she's got a very complex backstory, and I think it was good to hear her say that line about that she doesn't like hurting people, but it works. Like, and that's really tragic, but it was like, oh, okay, I can see now where her character's coming from and her motivations and why she's doing what she's doing, even though she has this relationship with Blake, and obviously doesn't, like, I don't think that she wants to hurt Blake or her family, but it seems like that is what has to be done for the greater good. And I think that was great, because it's really built up her character. Like, this season's been really good in terms of building up characters and making them more three-dimensional and really interesting, and backing them that up with great dialogue and voice acting and awesome, like, really exciting music and stuff like that. So that was, it was a very good, really well done scene in a lot of respects.
Yeah. And I think the scene makes the distinction that Ilya is not like Adam. And I think that it's successful. I think that we've seen that Adam's motivations are for Adam is purely a power grab. And he also wants the Faunuses to be like above the humans, right? And I don't think Ilya espouses anything like that here.
Ilya's kind of like Sienna, like that kind of, like, not quite as
I think
violent
she's even I think she's even less extreme than Sienna.
Yeah, less extreme, but she's definitely seems to be a byproduct of Sienna's movement into the White Fang.
Yeah. Also, I forgot to say, it should be noted, Ilya, probably a, not only gay character, gay person of color, I think. I think Ilya is not white, but, not
well, she is also a chameleon.
Right. So she changes color.
But I wanted to touch on that, Hayley, because you brought up something about her being able to pass as human. Is that supposed to be a comparison to, like, being in the closet? Like, that's supposed to be what they're doing? Like, I don't trust them to be able to do that, but is it unintentionally like that kind of thing? You could probably read
it that way.
Yeah, they made the rainbow college chameleon the gay character.
Yeah,
kind of on the nose there.
Wow.
Yeah. Her last name is also literally means rainbow in a different language.
No, seriously.
Well, yeah, it's because she's a chameleon. I don't think it's because she's gay. Because she changes color.
She was going to be the gay character from the
like. There's only so many times we can say, I mean, this is bad, but I mean, she's also this. Like, there's only so many times we can say that in this podcast, Dylan.
No, I don't think they were intending that with she's a chameleon.
Think so, but I mean, the things add up, even unintentionally.
I know, I definitely agree. Believe me, I'm the one saying don't get the benefit out here.
I don't agree, Dylan. I'm just espousing.
Okay, minor things to end here. We've not really talked about new Spider Lady, Trifa.
I love that he called her Sister Trifa. Like, okay, calm down, buddy. Like, don't be so formal.
That's what all the White Fang members call each other, brother and sister. Yeah. They're not that consistent with it, but yeah.
No, they're not at all.
Yeah. It's like Corsic and Finnick aren't probably. I don't know if they're
I
actual
totally didn't
brothers,
get that she was
but
a spider. I was like, what's wrong with
Well,
her?
the web came out of her hand, like from behind, like
she's
the
more
skin of her
Spider-Man.
hand.
Yeah.
Like,
I
I
think-
get it now, but like, I was like, what's with her arms? I was like, I just didn't get it. Like, I was like, what?
She's supposed to have varicose veins, which is spidery veins. That's the whole
Is
like
that what
tie.
it is?
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what the
Oh.
veins on her are. That's what it's supposed to be.
And that's like
Okay,
full of
that-
webs.
I think she's a cool design. They keep introducing these random cool designs. We also saw Yuma again in the scene, who's like the Hawk Man. Who I think also
You
is
keep
really
calling him a
cool.
hawk. He's a bat, Dylan. He's a
He's a
bat.
bat. Oh, he's a bat guy. I don't know.
Got
Some
an
sort of-
effective technique of winding people, like just
Yeah,
fall
just-
from the sky onto their
fall
back.
on them,
So we
yeah.
got Batman and Spider Woman.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wonder if they intended that, yeah. But yeah, those are both really cool designs, and they seem like super inconsequential characters, so I don't know what the, whatever.
Well, we
they
saw
re-
him twice. So that's better.
Neo is another great example of a
Yes,
really
yes.
cool design.
Neo's the most awesome design on the
Oh,
show, and
where
she's
is
not in
Neo?
this season, yeah. Okay, don't get a lot of fans started on that. That's a lot.
Neo and Ilya.
People.
I know my
very
best
disappointed.
friend loves Neo, and he's like distraught forever.
Yeah, Neo is one of the top 5 favorite characters by like
One
consensus
day.
on the show. Yeah. So nope, no Neo though. Team Cinder got back together, but no Neo so far. Last thing is the end scene with we see the beginnings, and this is part 1 basically of an episode. We'll see the continuation. By the way, it should be noted, this is basically exactly what I said was going to happen 2 weeks ago. Just so we know, just so we're clear. We said Blake's going to meet up
We
with
got the
Ilya.
timing wrong,
and- yeah.
but we
Yes,
got the
but this
episode
was,
right.
I didn't know it would be like centered around this Bumblebee comparison. That's the interesting part. But yeah, we've been building to this for a while. And the Belladonnas are attacked by the White Fang, and we saw Kali shooting people. Of course,
That
and
was
Finnick
awesome.
were there, and then Werewolf Gira.
I did always wonder what his
Okay.
bonus thing was, because he was just a dude with like a hairy chest. Like he didn't have ears or anything, but
He's a wolf apparently.
now he's
Did
a
he really-
werewolf.
Did he really need to tear off his shirt to do this?
Yes,
like,
he did.
He just
It was
decided like
very
every shirt-
necessary. He had to.
I wish
Yeah,
he
this
was
is-
like more covered with fur, because that would have been
Yeah.
like more of
More
a
of an
thing.
indication.
But it's just
Yeah,
one little
so
patch.
Gira's been by far on the top of our death list for a while, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
think he is basically confirmed dead after
He's
this.
gonna
I think
die.
Oh yeah.
As long as they don't kill her mom, though, like I don't really care.
Right.
I-
This is his final scene. He's going out with a bang. This is way better than I thought they'd do his death. So I think that's
Yes.
awesome. Yeah.
hmm
Like Gira's dying next episode, probably
he
right
has
away.
to die.
I think
I-
Callie is second most likely to die.
Please,
Um,
don't kill her. Please, please, please don't kill
Yeah.
her.
I hope not, but she is there. How's she going to get out of there? I don't know. We'd been wondering about Sun and Ilya. Those are the 2 other people on my death list. And Sun,
away.
it seems like Sun is not dying because
Rip.
I've actually thought, I've
Rip.
continued to say Sun is going to die, but,
Rip.
he escapes with Blake, and
Yeah.
it doesn't
He
seem
hasn't
like he's
had
part
much
of the attack.
like screen time too. I feel like if he's gonna die, they'll give him more dramatic.
Yeah,
screen
the
time,
reason
too.
I thought was because he had this he
Yeah,
had
that
something
one
that
line.
sounded like a farewell speech with Blake before, but he hasn't talked in a while, so I don't think he's dying. Yeah.
No.
I
It's still an option, but I think
I don't think Ilya is gonna die. Also, I really hope. I hope not, but I think also I don't think she's going to.
think they're gonna kill Ilya, but it won't be it won't be for a while.
Yeah.
Andy Sun.
Sun, I think his chances of dying have lessened, but I still think it's an option next episode. Also, does this mean that Gira doesn't have a weapon? Because I was really excited to see what kind of dumb
guess
thing he
not.
had. I guess he just has his arms.
His claws, yeah.
He
claws
just has his
come down.
arms. I mean, those are some
He's got
pretty
that
big
sweet
stuff.
karate chop move to the neck. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
very
he
action
could have
move
punched the
scene.
guy out. Like that would have been way easier than lining up the karate chop.
I love that
Yeah.
it goes from Blake punching out the spider lady to Gira immediately punching someone else
Yeah,
in
it
the
was
face. It's good.
Oh, I just thought of a dramatic scene. What if, so Gira, definitely dead. What if Kali is like maybe gonna die and then Sun goes in to save her, but she still dies, but Sun doesn't? Like that would wreck you, I think. That would be sad.
I
It'd
think
be
we're
real
leading up-
sad because Sun didn't die.
Well, but he would be so sad and then he'd have to leave and Kali would be dead because they have such a nice little relationship, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
I think
Yeah,
we're
and
leading up to Blake having to choose between her 2 parents, like which one to save.
Oh,
That's
no, please don't. No.
because I think they're in different
No.
sides. They're in different places.
Have
in
we
the house.
not tortured this character?
Yeah.
Like, leave her
Blake.
alone.
They would do that, but I don't,
I don't want it to happen either. I'm just saying this seems like what they're doing because it seems like they're in very different parts of their big house, and it seems like
that
Blake
is true.
I
They
think-
were like
Okay.
falling
Sun
after
goes
each
one
other
of them and
too.
Blake's go to
Yeah.
another, and Blake
Yeah.
is going to fail to save the one that she goes to,
Okay.
and Sun's going to
You
save the one.
send Sun to save her mom.
Yeah.
Sun dies. Mom is fine. Blake goes for her dad.
Yeah,
Everything's fine.
here's the thing. Here's what I've kept been saying about Sun is another big reason Sun could die is because what's his role once Blake goes to Mistral? Like, what is Sun? Is he joining Blake in Mistral, or is he like because that's the thing. He doesn't seem to fit in there. So I don't know if he's just following along because that's the other question is it seems
We've
like
also
for a
kind of
while
built up this idea that like we're just going to start killing people we know, like this whole like when RWBY was like I've lost people.
Yes.
So like
Yes.
Sun's next.
Yeah, we've been foreshadowing deaths. Also, random note, we've been foreshadowing bringing people back to life in one line before, so let's just keep that on our radar. That'll be down the road, but Zombie Pyrrha.
Please.
Okay.
Zombie
accept that first.
Zombie Pyrrha.
Sienna. That's
Zombie
the only
Sun
person
would
I'll
be the
accept.
Yeah,
Delaney, would
so-
you hate normal Sun or zombie Sun more?
Normal Sun.
So yeah, so we'll see how Sun fits in. I also am just less clear now on what's happening at the end of next episode, or if we don't, it's always possible at the show we don't actually see part 2 of this next episode. But like how is Blake getting to Mistral? Is she captured and sent to Adam? Because that's what it seemed like for a while here. And then it's like, okay, the season's going to do the thing where the end of the season is freeing
I
Blake
feel
from
like
Adam.
they're all just going to meet up like on the day of them attacking Haven.
Yeah, that is possible. There have been some signs against the Haven attack happening in this season. We still have a lot to do. So you could also, replace attack Haven with attack on the, bandit camp or whatever else, or bringing the maiden to the
Yeah, what about the Spring Maiden? We haven't even talked to her.
Yeah, we haven't done anything with her yet.
Yeah.
That's we still need to do that. So yeah, I don't know. I still think Blake in Mistral, like the time difference needs to be justified. So I still think that's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Bumblebee reunion in play for next episode. I'm just saying.
I think it's got to be either next episode or the one after.
I think it's 2. I think it's definitely in 2 episodes. Next episode, we're going to have one of those classic.
I think you said that last week though. He said that's only a minute.
Because Dylan, every time we start, we're like, yes, we're definitely going back to Menagerie for the whole episode next episode, but we're
Yeah,
not
It's been like
doing
2
it.
weeks now.
I know.
Yeah. So yeah. We'll see the conclusion to this, and it seems like that the Belladonnas will fall, and the White Fang will take over, and Blake will probably just be forced to escape, and then that I've been saying this for weeks, and then we'll show up at their door or something. So, in play, but that seems clean. I don't know.
I think it makes sense, especially because we've had time to reconnect the RWBY and Ranger teams and get them caught up, and we've had RWBY team chats happen. We're at a point with their characters reconnecting to that we can introduce another character now. So I can see that.
So yeah. That we didn't have time with RWBY to bring in Blake, and we set it up this episode. Okay, so Delaney, final thoughts on the episode or anything else?
I really enjoyed the episode, aside from the problematic stuff we've yelled about. And I'm excited to see what happens next. And Bumblebee forever.
I didn't expect you to be going so hard on Bumblebee here. That was the surprise of the podcast, I think.
This episode
I gotta keep you
just
on your
was
toes,
so
Dylan.
Bumblebee.
Yeah, I didn't know I'd be anti-Bumblebee. I didn't know that would be my role here. Okay. Hayley, final thoughts.
It's good. I'm happy that we finally have a confirmed queer character, so that was awesome. And although it's kind of unfortunate that there's problematic elements, but I think she's a very complicated character, so it's a complicated situation. But overall, awesome, because now we've confirmed we got magic and we got gay people, so this show's great now. Good job. And the Bumblebee angst and emotions and general Team RWBY chats was awesome, and the amount of freezer burn was awesome as well, even though Bumblebee for life. But I was very pleasantly surprised with this very Team RWBY focused episode. So that was A+.
Okay. Andy, final thoughts.
This was at least fun. Like you said, I had fun. Like you said, this was a fun watch at the very least. And I'm still ready for freezer burn. And I also think we didn't mention it because it's not really that big a moment. But there's probably some of the most dumb symbolism I think I've seen this show do, which was the birds at the very beginning of the episode.
Yeah, that was great.
The 4 birds flying around and then one left. Like, what does that mean?
Oh, really?
I gotta admit, my first thought was, I was like, oh, which character's that? Which character are those birds? No.
I just zone out on scenery shots, so
RWBY's watching it. That's the even worst part. RWBY's watching these birds, and then Yang comes in after the one bird leaves. It's like,
it was awesome.
I wonder what's going on here.
Okay, yeah, that's a good take. I forgot about that. Okay, yeah, I'll feel less guilty about this if we don't do anything problematic the rest of the season. But I do think this is by far my favorite episode of the season, and I think that I'm pretty confident we're not killing Ilya. I think that at least for the rest of the season, I'm more confident in that than anything else we've talked about, basically, except for Gyaradyne, because that's
pretty confident about that.
Yeah. They can't be that stupid. That's basically it. It's just so obvious that this is a bad move. Yeah. But then again, so we'll see you next week. We got actually word from Rooster Teeth on the airing schedule, in advance.
Wow.
So this is the first time ever. RWBY will be new every week of December except for the 23rd. So,
cool.
We are new next week and the week after, and new on the day before New Year's Eve. So, plenty of RWBY to come still in December, and we're on pace for finishing this season, despite having 2 more episodes weeks before any other season, just because they've taken no breaks. So I think that's been very cool of them to have a more consistent schedule, and it's been with a more consistent season. So much more enjoyable RWBY experience so far this year. Just don't, just do things to improve this Ilya situation. We can do it. We can have Bumblebee together, or Freeze Burn or something, and fix this. So, let us know in the comments. Are you team Bumblebee or team Freezer Burn? Whose side are you on in the debate? And, I don't know. I haven't seen that many people talking about this because everyone's just screaming about the Ilya stuff. So we'll see how this develops in the fandom. Leave your comments on YouTube or on our website, overlyanimated.com. And make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube or iTunes or whatever podcatcher to not miss future RWBY discussions. If you enjoyed this discussion, please leave us an iTunes review on our RWBY iTunes feed. There's a lot of people yelling at us there, so it'd be nice to have some more positive reviews on that. And you can text chat with us, give us your thoughts on the episode on our Discord, overlyanimated.com/Discord. We have a RWBY channel that's very active. And consider supporting us on Patreon, patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you very much to all of our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Brendan, aka Kells. And thanks as always to our patron executive producers, John, Ryan, Steve, Alex, Andy, and Hugh. Been a busy weekend on the Overly Animated podcast. We've had Miraculous Ladybug and Star Wars Force of Evil discussions so far, and we have a Mysticons discussion coming up tomorrow. So, Little Witch Academia as well. So I'll find all of that at overlyanimated.com, and more RWBY next week. Very excited to see the conclusion to this probable 2-part episode, but like we said, who knows? So, we'll see. Let us know, and thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.